Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
Virginia farmers possess an important political voice. It's time for stew in the heart of the home, and Virginia's wine grape harvest is winding down for the year.
Welcome back, everyone. This month we're coming to you from James River Cellars in Hanover County. Rural America has historically played a very important role in local, state, and national politics. And as we gear up for the 2016 presidential race, Virginia farmers want to remind politicians that their voices and concerns need to be heard.
This year's election is critically important to Virginia. All 140 seats in the Virginia General Assembly will be up for election on November 3rd. That is why the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation has launched its I Farm, I Vote campaign to help voters and state lawmakers understand the concerns of rural communities.
Well, Virginia Farm Bureau wanted to attract attention to rural Virginia and farmers to vote in this November's election. A simple sign, that people can hold up standing out in their field, in front of their tractor, or anywhere on their farm, or anywhere really, and then post it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever they use, and to encourage people to vote, number one, and to let people know that agriculture, the farm vote in rural Virginia counts in this November's election.
Farmers like M.L. Everett have jumped on the viral campaign. He says it's a chance to connect all people to the importance of agriculture in the state and the power of the rural vote.
It's really interesting to note that anytime I'm around a politician, they're very excited and they want to know information about what I'm doing on the farm. The general public knows that, hey, farmers are getting involved in politics and they do vote. I don't have any farming friends that aren't proud to say, hey, I'm at the polls on voting day and I'm casting my vote because it's so important.
Not only is Farm Bureau encouraging farmers, they are asking that all rural voters post the I Farm, I Vote signs on their property and take photos with their signs to post to social media. It's that easy to show your support for rural communities and get involved in the campaign.
If you go by a local Farm Bureau office or go to vafarmbureau.org, download a sign there. It's really right on the website as soon as you go there. And when you post it, you can use a hashtag at iFarmIVoteVA, and people can search the social media and see pictures using these signs.
The response has been positive through the social media campaign, with farmers from around the state posting their photos showing the various crops and livestock produced in Virginia. Posts will be made to the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation social media pages through Election Day.
And it's not only me being a farmer, it's my neighbors that keep up with what I'm participating in, because a lot of them, especially out here in the rural area, their families own farms that we're now working. The farmer numbers have decreased, but the farm ownership is pretty much the same.
Again, to print your own sign, simply visit vafarmbureau.org/policy-action/I-Farm-I-Vote and post your photos through November 3rd.
Farmers have been involved in politics since the founding of our nation. George Washington and many other prominent Virginia statesmen were also planters. Beginning in 1867, several national farm political groups organized to improve education, social, and economic conditions for farmers. One of the largest was the National Grange. In 1911, the American Farm Bureau Federation was formed, and in 1926, the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation was chartered. Today, the farm vote, while smaller in number, still plays an important role in many elections. Farmers and rural voters are often considered swing votes in tight elections, and agriculture is a top economic engine for the nation.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about late season garden cleanup. Stay with us.
Dazzling lights on winter nights will put you in the mood for the holiday season. It's the Illuminate Light Show at Meadow Event Park, November 21st to January 2nd in Caroline County. This spectacular holiday lighting event takes travelers through a musical show of color, lights, and design. Giant animated displays and illuminated trees lead to Santa's Village, where families can visit Santa Claus and enjoy the sights and magic of Christmas. To learn more, go to illuminatelightshow.com.
Experienced gardeners will tell you that cleaning up is an important part of their annual routine. Mark Viette shows us some easy tips in the garden.
As the season progresses, many of our plants start to decline. Now, they decline for a variety of reasons. Could be disease issues, insect problems, not enough water, too much water. And one of the plants that you can clean up late in the season is your hosta. There's so many types of hosta. And this is one of the hosta, and it appears almost that it did have a fungal disease. So you have quite a few options. Of course, with all your tools, you do need to be quite careful, but one of the methods, if it's just a few leaves that you're going to remove from this plant, you can use a sharp utility knife and reach down and go ahead and just remove some of the leaves. Or you can use a hand shears, and this is easy to do. You're going to reach down and remove some of these leaves and neaten the plant up to the point that all you see are nice, healthy, new leaves. Some people, after they finish flowering, will even come in and remove the old seed pods. Now, this will take time, and if you've got a lot of hostas like we have, I might opt for something different, and that's going to be your hedge shears. And in that case, you're going to come in and cut the entire plant down. Usually I cut it to 3 or 4 inches. And if the season's not too late, it will send up nice new foliage for the very end of the season. So just come in here like this, and you just shear it just like this. And then you clean up all the old foliage, and the plant is ready to send up new leaves. Calla lilies are great additions to our garden. And sometimes you'll find that there'll be damage from the Japanese beetles, or they'll even get a little sunburned, as you see here. So you can shear them back, especially after they finish flowering. And really all you have to do is come in here and just prune them just like that. And you'll find even the old seed pods can be removed. When you're done, you're going to have a nice looking plant like this, and within about 2 weeks, brand new foliage is going to come out of the center of each of these crowns. Daylilies start to decline after they finish flowering. Even varieties that rebloom like Stella d'Oro decline. So what you can do is go right in the garden, and especially late in the season, and shear them back so you can get nice new growth. And that means you just come like this. It's that easy. You pull away, gather the old foliage, get rid of it, and your plant in about a week or 2 is going to start producing new foliage just like this. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Nothing smells quite as appetizing as an aromatic warm stew on a cold autumn evening. We'll share a recipe for one from the heart of the home next.
We're on Okmulgee Dairy Farm in Amelia County, Virginia.
My great-grandfather moved here in 1898. I started milking cows, I think, in 1902, and been milking cows ever since.
The farm involves my father-in-law, mother-in-law, my husband, his brother, and our 2 boys.
You get to see and get the knowledge of the generation ahead of you, and you get all the education and new ideas from the younger sons behind me.
And I feel a real connection with the land I work every day, and being able to work with my dad and brothers and uncle and grandfather.
You know, we plant stuff, you like to see it grow, build up a good herd of cattle, and think you accomplished something.
You can see the profits of your labor on a daily basis.
And we really take pride in what we do, producing a wholesome product for the consumer.
I am Larkin Moyer, a fourth-generation dairy farmer from Virginia, and I'm dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, and my land.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Brunswick County, Virginia is one of several areas that claim to be the original home to Brunswick Stew, a uniquely southern dish. It's basically a very thick meat stew with lima beans, corn, tomatoes, and other vegetables. In Virginia, the meat of choice is chicken, while other cooks prefer pork or fresh game. Legend has it a hunting camp cook named Jimmy Matthews created the stew with squirrel meat in Brunswick County, Virginia back in 1828. Today, it's a popular treat for church suppers, fundraisers, and family reunions, and is traditionally cooked in large kettles. The recipe says the stew isn't thick enough until the stirring paddle stands up in the middle.
Fall means it's time for warm comfort foods, and former Miss America Carissa Jackson has a very unique recipe for African peanut stew in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Carissa Jackson for Heart of the Home, cooking at the Meadow Kitchen at the Meadow Event Park. Today I'm going to be making an African peanut stew. So first we're going to start off with 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pot. We've preheated our pot over medium heat, and we're going to add 1 bunch of finely chopped scallions or 1 whole onion, whichever you prefer. We're going to cook these until they get tender, about 2 to 3 minutes. And then we're going to add in a little bit of ginger and some minced garlic. All right, now we're going to add in about 3 cloves of minced garlic and about 1 inch of fresh minced ginger. We're going to cook these until they're tender, so about 2 or 3 more minutes. Here we have 2 chopped sweet potatoes. We're going to go ahead and add this to our onions, garlic, and ginger, and we're going to let that cook for about 5 to 8 minutes or until your sweet potatoes are tender. Now it's time to add our spices to the mix. Here we have ground cumin, ground cinnamon, we have cloves, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of crushed red chili peppers. I'm going to start with our cumin. And we are adding 2 teaspoons. A half teaspoon of cinnamon, about an 1/8 teaspoon of our cloves, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a pinch of crushed red chili peppers, and a couple of cracks of salt. You will notice that your spices are going to stick to the bottom of the pan, and that's okay because we are going to break that up with our vegetable broth and our diced tomatoes in just a little bit. So we want to evenly coat our sweet potatoes with all of our spices. And then we're going to add about 1/3 of our 28-ounce can of roasted tomatoes. All right, we want to let this simmer for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to add in the remainder and our vegetable broth. All right, we're going to add the rest of our diced tomatoes, and then 2 cups of vegetable broth, and bring it to a boil. We have brought our mixture to a boil at this point, and we're going to add 3 cups of fresh chopped collard greens. We got all of our ingredients for this recipe from our friends at Relay Foods. We're going to stir these in, and then we're going to reduce the heat to low and allow our collard greens to cook and simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes. We have let our stew simmer for about 25 minutes, and now we're going to add 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Peanuts are one of our top farm products. If you go to any ball game, when you have those in-shell peanuts or those restaurants where the peanut shells are on the floor, it's probably a Virginia peanut. We are famous for our peanuts. So we are going to stir in our peanut butter until it softens and evenly distribute it throughout the stew. We're going to let this simmer for about 5 minutes as the aroma of the peanuts start to take over your kitchen, and then it'll be ready to serve. All right, it's time to serve. Gonna get a soup spoon, get a generous portion. We're gonna top it with a little bit of chopped cilantro and chopped roasted peanuts. And there you have it, African peanut stew. I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home. Come and get it.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org. Visit the Virginia farm that produced an American legend. See the birthplace of 1973 Triple Crown champion Secretariat, now a Virginia Historic Landmark, at Meadow Event Park. Our Hoofprints of History tours are given year-round by reservation. It's a perfect day trip for families, groups large or small, and anyone who loves horses and history. Resident author-historian Leanne Meadows-Layden conducts the tours and shares behind-the-scenes stories about Meadow Stable and its most famous son, Secretariat. Meadow Event Park also hosts the annual Secretariat Birthday Celebration at the Virginia Horse Festival each spring. The festivities at the State Fair of Virginia at Meadow Event Park include an annual salute to Secretariat during both weekends. Come see where the legend lives on. Visit Secretariat's birthplace at Meadow Event Park.
October is wine month in Virginia, and as Dave Miller reports, to have wine, you must grow grapes, and it's taken centuries for grape growers to solve production problems.
Virginians have been trying to grow grapes commercially since the Jamestown colony was founded in 1607. In a time when water was not safe to drink, colonists drank an enormous amount of cider, wine, and other spirits. But Virginia's climate and soil, along with fungal diseases, frustrated growers for hundreds of years. It wasn't until the 1970s that winemakers succeeded in grafting French grape hybrids to American rootstock to successfully raise quality wine grapes.
The challenge here for us is to marry the farming with the demand and the challenge of being in a very competitive business. Because make no mistake about it, the competition on the grocery store shelf is fierce.
Willowcroft Winery dates back to 1981, and the owners have always focused on staying small and making quality wine. But now, there are new challenges.
Virginia-grown grapes are in short supply today, there's no secret, and it's very difficult to buy grapes. The problem is a confluence of a couple of things. First of all, the number of wineries has grown dramatically. As I say, we were the first here in Loudoun County. We're now approaching 40 wineries here in Loudoun County. We're probably 5th or 6th oldest in Virginia, and Virginia's bouncing over 300 wineries now.
State law requires a farm winery to use 75% or more Virginia grapes to produce a Virginia-labeled wine. That means the demand for Virginia grapes has exploded, and now there are more wineries than vineyards.
The data show that the number of new acres planted is rising, but at a rate that's far lower than the demand caused by all the new wineries. And so it's a natural thing, but it's a problem in a number of ways. We don't sell any grapes anymore. We generally trade our excess grapes for other varieties that we need to balance our crop load, and others are doing the same thing. This year, fortunately, I think we'll have a bumper crop in Virginia, and there may be some grapes to buy and sell, but I think it's generally an exception.
Harvesting the grapes is another challenge to making fine wine. Labor shortages often hit when several growers need to bring in their grapes at the same time.
Chardonnay's ripe. These are the Chardonnay grapes, and we're harvesting them a little bit later than we'd like. Again, usual problems with scheduling. It rained yesterday. We couldn't harvest, and so we got to get them all in as quickly as we can, and we'll be doing that tomorrow. The chemistry show that they're ready to process, and we processed half of the Chardonnay crop today, and we're going to chill these down and process the remainder of the Chardonnay crop day after tomorrow.
Successful winemaking is part art and part chemistry. Parker also has to test the grapes to assure they're at their peak before processing.
This is the test for titratable acidity. When it stays pink, light pink, for 15 seconds, I've got my endpoint. Ooh, one more little bit. Boom, there it is. Started at 10.0. Now the end is 14.7. That's 4.7. 4.7. 7 grams per liter.
When processing grapes for wine, they are brought from the overnight chiller. They are put into the stainless steel crusher stemmer. The stems shoot out one end, and the berries are gently broken and drop into the press. Then they are pressed to the sides, and the juice drops into the sump and is moved to a stainless steel tank, settling overnight at cold temperatures. The next day, the clear juice will be drained off the sediment and inoculated with yeast, which starts the fermentation process of converting sugars in the juice into alcohol, carbon dioxide, and heat.
Virginia is making some beautiful wines that are, no question about it, world class. And not only world class, but distinctively different from the same varieties that are coming from other parts of the world. So we have a tremendous advantage in being able to make distinctive, wonderful wines.
Successful winemaking is a blend of agriculture, food science, chemistry, and viticulture. All that and more go into a bottle of Virginia wine. But it all starts with raising a quality grape crop, still the most challenging step. In Loudoun County, this is Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia.